At my daughter's bridal shower, she slipped a note into my hand that read, "Dad, he's not who you think." And in that moment, standing in a room full of laughter, flowers, and celebration, I felt something inside me drop. Not fear, not yet, but instinct. The kind that tells you something is wrong before you understand why. My name is Henry Carter. I'm 59 years old, a former police detective, and a father who believed he had already seen the worst this world could offer. Turns out, I hadn't seen anything yet. The bridal shower was held at a small event hall just outside the city. Warm lighting, soft music. Friends and family gathered around my daughter, Lily. She looked happy, radiant even. The kind of happiness that makes a father believe everything turned out right. Her fiancé, Ethan, stood nearby. Perfect suit, perfect smile. The kind of man people trust instantly. Too instantly. I had my doubts about him. Nothing concrete. Just instinct. But Lily loved him. And after everything she had been through, I told myself, maybe I was just being protective. Maybe I needed to let go. That's what I believed. Until she handed me that note. It happened quickly. She hugged me, tight, longer than usual. And as she pulled away, something pressed into my palm. I didn't react, didn't look, just smiled. Because whatever it wasn't meant for anyone else. I stepped away slowly, toward the back of the room, near the window. And I opened it. "Dad, he's not who you think." That was it. No explanation. No details. Just a warning. My chest tightened. I looked up. Lily was across the room, laughing, talking, playing her role perfectly. If I hadn't read the note, I would have believed it was real. I folded the paper carefully, slipped it into my pocket, and started watching. Because old habits don't disappear. They wait. Ethan moved through the room easily, greeting people, shaking hands, laughing at jokes. But now, I wasn't seeing a future son-in-law. I was observing a subject. His movements were smooth, controlled, too controlled, like someone who practiced being likable. That bothered me. I approached him casually. "Big day," I said. He smiled. Getting there. His handshake was firm, confident. But his eyes, they scanned. Constantly. Not nervous. Aware. Like he was checking exits. People. Positions. That's not normal behavior. Not for a man at his own bridal shower. "You excited?" I asked. "Of course," he said. Perfect answer. Too perfect. Then he added, "Lily deserves everything." That sounded right. But something about the way he said it felt rehearsed. Like a line. Not a feeling. I nodded, stepped back, and kept watching. A few minutes later, Lily excused herself. Quietly. No announcement. No attention. Just gone. I followed. Not immediately. Gave it time. Then moved. Down the hallway. Past the restrooms. Toward the back exit. And there she was. Standing alone. Breathing fast. When she saw me, her face changed. The smile disappeared instantly. "Dad," I closed the distance. "What's going on?" She glanced around, like someone might be listening, then whispered. I didn't know who else to tell. My pulse sharpened. "What do you mean he's not who I think?" She swallowed. Hard. "I don't think his name is Ethan." That hit like a punch. "What?" "I found something," she said. "By accident." "Found what?" She reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, hands shaking, and showed me a photo, a driver's license. Same face, different name, different state, different life. I stared at it, then at her. "Where did you get this?" "It fell out of his bag last night." My mind started working fast. Names, identity, false records. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was deliberate. "Did you confront him?" I asked. She shook her head. "No." "Why not?" Her voice broke slightly. "Because I don't know who he really is. Silence. Heavy. Real. Then I asked the question that mattered most. Are you safe? She didn't answer immediately, and that answer was worse than words. Before I could speak again, we heard footsteps coming down the hallway. Slow, deliberate. Lily grabbed my arm. That's him. I turned. Ethan stood at the end of the hall, watching us. Not smiling, not pretending anymore, just watching. And in that moment, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever my daughter had just uncovered was only the beginning. Ethan didn't speak right away. He just stood there at the end of the hallway watching us. And the man I saw in that moment wasn't the same man who had been laughing with guests 5 minutes ago. The smile was gone. The charm was gone. What remained was something colder, more controlled, more dangerous. "Everything okay?" he asked, finally. His voice was calm, too calm. Lily's grip on my arm tightened. I stepped slightly in front of her. Instinct. Protection. "Just needed some air," I said. He nodded slowly, but his eyes didn't leave Lily. "Not once." "You could have said something," he replied. She forced a smile. I didn't want to interrupt. He took a few steps closer. Not aggressive, not fast, but intentional. Every movement measured. "Your dad looks concerned," he said. I held his gaze. "Just making sure my daughter's all right." A small pause. Then, "She's fine," he said. Not asked. Stated. Like a fact. Like a warning. I didn't respond. Because silence sometimes reveals more than words. Ethan's eyes shifted briefly to Lily's purse, then back to me. And in that moment, I knew. He knew something was wrong. Maybe not everything, but enough. "People are looking for you," he said to Lily. "Games starting. Bridal shower games. Laughter. Normal life. Just a few steps away." She nodded. "I'll be there." He didn't move. Didn't leave. Just stood there, waiting, watching. Then he smiled again. That same perfect smile, like a mask sliding back into place. "Don't be long," he said, and turned, walking back toward the party. The second he disappeared around the corner, Lily exhaled sharply. "He knows," she whispered. "Not everything," I said, "but enough to be careful." I looked at her, serious, focused. "Listen to me," I said. "From this moment on, you don't go anywhere alone." She nodded. "What do we do?" That was the question. And I didn't have a full answer yet. But I had a direction. "We don't confront him," I said. "Not until we know exactly who he is. And if he's dangerous?" I met her eyes. "Then we make sure we're not the ones caught off guard." She swallowed. "Okay." We walked back toward the main room, together, slow, controlled, because now everything had changed. The laughter sounded different, fake, distant. Every face felt like a distraction. Every moment, a cover. Ethan stood near the center of the room, talking, smiling, playing his role perfectly. But I wasn't fooled anymore, not even close. I stayed close to Lily, never more than a few steps away, watching, observing. Then something caught my attention. Ethan checked his watch. Subtle, quick, but intentional. Then he scanned the room. Again, that same awareness I noticed earlier. Not social, tactical, like he was waiting for something. Or someone. I leaned closer to Lily. "Has he been acting strange lately?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Past few weeks, yeah." "How?" "He started taking calls outside," she said. "Late nights, locked doors." My mind started connecting pieces. "What about work?" I asked. "He says he's in consulting," she replied. "Remote projects. Consulting. That word again. Vague. Flexible. Perfect cover." Then I asked, "Have you ever met his family?" She froze, and that told me everything. "No," she said quietly. "He said they're overseas." Of course they are. No witnesses. No background. Clean story. Too clean. Before I could respond, a loud voice cut through the room. All right, everyone. One of Lily's friends. Game time. Attention shifted. People gathered. Clapping. Smiling. Normal. Except it wasn't. Because as everyone moved toward the center, Ethan didn't. He stayed back, near the entrance, watching the door. And then, it opened. Two men stepped inside. Not guests. I knew that instantly. Wrong posture. Wrong energy. They scanned the room once. Then their eyes landed on Ethan. And something passed between them. No words. Just recognition. My pulse spiked. Lily felt it too. Dad, stay calm, I said. Ethan moved toward them. Quick. Quiet. Like he didn't want attention. They spoke briefly, too low to hear. Then one of the men handed him something. Small, dark, easily hidden in his hand. My instinct screamed. This wasn't random. This wasn't social. This was a meeting. Planned. And it was happening at my daughter's bridal shower. Ethan turned back toward the room, his expression unchanged. But now, I saw it clearly. This wasn't just a man with a fake name. This was someone involved in something deeper, something organized, something dangerous. Lily grabbed my sleeve. We need to leave, she whispered. Not yet, I said. Why? Because if we leave suddenly, he'll know we know. Her breathing quickened. Then what do we do? I looked at Ethan, then at the two men, still near the entrance, watching, waiting, and I made a decision. We play along, I said. For now. Her eyes widened. Play along? Yes, I said quietly, until we find out exactly what we're dealing with. Because walking away blindly is how people disappear. And I wasn't about to let that happen to my daughter. But as I watched Ethan slip whatever they gave him into his pocket, I realized something else. This wasn't just about who he was. It was about what he was about to do. And whatever it was going to happen soon. The moment we burst through the exit door, the noise of the bridal shower disappeared behind us. All that remained was the sound of our footsteps and theirs. Keep running, I told Lily. We didn't look back. Not yet. The parking lot stretched ahead. Cars, empty spaces, no cover, too exposed. I scanned quickly. Left, right. Then I saw it. A narrow service alley beside the building. Here, I said, pulling her toward it. We turned sharply into the alley. Darker, quieter, but safer. For now. Footsteps echoed behind us. They had followed. Of course they had. Dad! Lily's voice trembled. I know, I said. Just stay with me. My mind was working fast. We couldn't outrun them forever. We needed an advantage. Something to shift control. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, dialed. One number. A number I hadn't used in years, but never forgot. It rang once, twice. Then, Carter? A familiar voice. Old partner. Still on the force. It's me, I said quickly. I need immediate backup. Location? I gave it. Short, clear. On our way, he said. No questions. No hesitation. That's how real trust works. I ended the call. Looked at Lily. Help is coming. Behind us. The footsteps got louder. Closer. Too close. We reached the end of the alley. Dead end. A locked gate. I tried it anyway. Didn't move. Of course. Lily's breathing turned sharp. Dad. I turned. They were there. 3 of them. Blocking the only way out. Ethan stepped forward slowly. No smile. No mask. Just the real man now. Running wasn't a good idea, he said. I stepped in front of Lily. It was better than staying. He nodded slightly. Fair. Then his eyes shifted to her. Give me the phone. Straight to the point. No more games. Lily tightened her grip on it. No. His jaw tightened. You don't understand what you have. I spoke before she could, then explain. He looked at me, studying, calculating. Then he exhaled, like he had decided something. That picture you took, he said. It's not just a fake ID. My chest tightened. Then what is it? It's part of a larger file, he replied. Names, operations, people who don't exist on paper. My instincts clicked instantly. Organized network. Illegal. Deep. Dangerous. And you're part of it? I asked. I was, he corrected. That was interesting. Past tense. You don't just walk away from something like that, I said. No, he replied quietly. You don't. A pause. Then, I tried. Silence. Heavy. Real. For a second, I saw something different in him. Not cold. Not controlled. Human. I was going to disappear after the wedding, he continued. New life. New identity. I frowned. Then why come here? His eyes flicked to Lily. Because I didn't expect to care. That caught me off guard. And now? I asked. Now, you've made it complicated. Of course. Everything comes back to control. You brought those men, I said. They're not here for you, he replied. They're here for the data. My pulse spiked. They think I still have it. And you don't? He shook his head. No. Then who does? His eyes locked onto Lily's phone. My stomach dropped. Of course. The photo. The file. It wasn't just an image. It was access. Information. Proof. And now, we were holding it. Sirens echoed in the distance. Faint. Getting closer. Ethan heard it. So did the others. Time was running out. Last chance, one of the men said. Give it. Lily looked at me. Fear. Trust. Decision. I nodded slightly. She understood. Slowly, she raised the phone. All eyes on it. Tension thick. Then, she threw it. Not to them. Over the gate. Behind us. Gone. Silence. Shock. Pure. Ethan's eyes widened. The men swore. One of them lunged forward, but it was too late. The phone was gone. So was the data. Sirens got louder, closer, real. The men hesitated, looked at each other. Then, they ran, disappearing back into the alley. Gone. Just like that. Ethan didn't move. He stood there, looking at the gate, then at us. And for the first time, he smiled. Not fake, not perfect, real. You just made yourself very hard to track, he said. Police lights flashed at the end of the alley. Red, blue, closing in. He stepped back. Slowly. They won't stop, he added quietly. People like them never do. Then you stay and explain everything, I said. He shook his head. I can't. Why? Because I'm still part of the problem. Footsteps approached. Officers entering the alley. Ethan took one last look at Lily. Something unspoken passed between them. Then he turned and ran, gone before the police reached us. Just like that. Days later, everything came out. Investigations. Reports. Hidden networks exposed. But not everything. Not him. Ethan disappeared. No trace. No record. Like he never existed. Lily called off the wedding. Of course, that life was never real. Weeks passed. Then months. We moved on. Slowly. Carefully. One evening, sitting across from me, Lily asked, "Do you think he was lying about everything?" I thought about it. About the mask. The truth. The moment in the alley. Then I answered honestly, "No." She looked at me, confused. Then what was real? I met her eyes. You. Silence. Soft. Understanding. Because sometimes the most dangerous people aren't the ones who lie completely. They're the ones who mix truth with lies. Just enough to make you believe. And sometimes you don't realize who they really are until it's too late. The end.